And out. I don't know what to make of the Los Angeles Lakers right now. We definitely going to talk about that. But guess what? That pales in comparison to the NCAA tournament. Did you see it? Did you see it, Max? I mean, my Lord, the opening weekend for March Madness. This might be the best one yet. Without Duke, without Kentucky. Damn. All that and more coming up. First 6.5. Let's go.
It's amazing what happens when you get a group of young men who believe. And these guys believed.
The Loyola Chicago Ramblers have upset Illinois.
The Baylor Bears are on to the Sweet 16.
We've already proved so many people wrong, so why not keep going?
Game over. The Razorbacks are headed for the Sweet 16.
I can't even tell you how bad I wanted it. It's just, a will to win.
He looked us in our eyes and told us, this is our game. We got to win.
It's over. It's over. Oral Roberts wins.
So I believe that we could win, and we just came out victorious.
Villanova puts on a clinic. They're off to the Sweet 16.
The Oregon State Beavers turning the Sweet 16 into a double-digit dance party.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith. I'm Molly Karam Rose.
What a
and
great
gentlemen,
weekend.
Stephen A., I'm right there with you. It was unreal. I said to myself, am I being prisoner of the moment? Is it because we haven't had the tournament a couple of years? But if we have one more upset, it was like one after the next after the next. It was so much fun. I mean, we got spring back and we got the tournament back, and it feels like some normalcy. By the way, Loyola Chicago, how about that upset? After #1 Illinois, their coach, Coach Moser, will join us in just a moment. Can't wait to talk to him. And of course, Dickie V will be here to break down all the fun, guys. So a wild weekend in sports, upset galore. Max, what do you think's the best story? This is a tough question, but the best story of the tournament thus far?
It is a tough story. And Loyola Chicago, I mean, Illinois being a 1 seed, Illinois, I had them against Gonzaga in the finals. I think a lot of people did. A lot of people were picking them to win the whole thing. That's low-hanging fruit. But I'm actually going to go with Syracuse over West Virginia. And I'll tell you why, because we're talking about story. And when you talk about story, you really need to look at the characters. And these are characters that we know. I mean, Jim Boeheim, Coach Boeheim, was not supposed to be, it's not a 1, but it is a 3 seed. We're talking about an 11-3 here. And what is he really known for? What's Boeheim known for? The 2-3 zone, right? So what are you really saying with that? Well, one way you could look at it is, okay, college kids, when the lights are shining brightest, go ahead, hit threes with the game on the line in the tournament. Let's see you do it. And they couldn't. As often is the case, they couldn't. But also Syracuse couldn't score. And Buddy Boeheim, the coach's son, background is, of course, he's accused of nepotism. His son is taking a spot that belongs to someone else. And he can't throw it in the ocean in the first half. And who goes up to him at halftime and tells him, you just keep shooting? None other than Jerry McNamara himself. And let me tell you something. I loved Carmelo Anthony the year they went all the way.
McNamara was special, though.
He was special.
Yeah, he was. I haven't gotten him.
I loved Carmelo, and I picked them to go all the way when everyone was talking about TJ Ford, because I was like, Carmelo's the best player in the country. His team's going to win. But if they don't have McNamara, they don't win. They don't win without McNamara. And for that dude to go up to the coach's kid with it's nepotism, he doesn't belong there, and he's ice cold. For him to say, you keep shooting, and for Buddy to talk about it after the game. Because then what happens? West Virginia wakes up in the second half, and they start hitting those shots. And it's Buddy Boeheim who keeps them in the game by hitting his shots. The fact that they actually go on to win that game, to me, is the best story of the first round.
I will say this to you, though. I like that choice. I don't mind it at all, but I wouldn't accuse anybody. Nobody would accuse Syracuse of nepotism this year because Buddy Boeheim's the best player on the team.
Sure.
Now, if he was some marginal player or something like that, that would be
not recently, right?
No, he's the best player on the team. He's the man on that team.
That's right.
Okay, and he's showing up. So it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Maybe the best story in the NCAA. I give you that. I can't believe I'm saying this because my brother, Galen Gordon, that used to work here, is now at ABC as a senior vice president. Congratulations to him. Where did he graduate from, Max?
Huge congrats to
Oral Roberts. He graduated from Oral Roberts. And the second that they won, first they beat Ohio State. And I'm looking for the brother because we supposed to go out to dinner. And he's like, what about Oral Roberts? And then last night they beat Florida and he's like this, yo, what about Oral Roberts? So again, Galen Gordon, congratulations. I said Oral Roberts. He said Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts. Say it faster. Oral Roberts. I don't know how to pronounce the damn name. Oral Roberts, okay? In Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe. Look, this brother, what is this, Abino or Obanar or whatever? This brother's averaging 29 points a game. He dropped 28 last night. He was shooting from all over the place. Adams, I mean, he dropped 26. These brothers can play. They can play. They beat Ohio State and they beat Florida. And the second, number 15 seed to reach a Sweet 16. Look, I got to give props where props are due. When we talk about Cinderellas, we got to talk about that because Cinderellas is what you expect of a March Madness. And here's the twist to all of this, Max. In the cold open, I brought up Duke, Kentucky, out of the mix. Usually when we think Cinderella stories, okay, it's going to be somebody that gets to the Final Four or even just the Sweet 16. We're perfectly fine with that, and that's it because the Blue Bloods of college basketball will show up onto the scene, at least one or two of them, and it's going to be a wrap. I'm sorry. We can't assume that this year. COVID-19, the complications it has caused. One game got canceled, and I forgot who it was that gets the advance because there was no game played Saturday or Sunday rather. So I'm looking at it from that perspective, and then I'm thinking about this. I love what I'm seeing from Baylor. They're number 1 seed. I love what I'm seeing from Houston, even survived by the skin of their teeth. They're number 2 seed. Villanova, Jay Wright, and those boys are in the mix and blowing teams out, by the way. Okay, I was very disappointed in what I saw from Georgetown. They couldn't hit the backside of the barn.
Yeah, that was the one where you thought they'd go on a little bit of a run.
I watched that game from start to finish. They got blown out because they couldn't hit shots, and Colorado could hit shots. But Oral Roberts can play. They can hit shots. They're a number 15 seed, and their name alone, you think of religion, okay? You don't think basketball. But Oral Roberts is a number 15 seed, and they're in the Sweet 16. And oh, by the way, they could potentially make some noise. Plays Arkansas on Saturday. They can beat Arkansas. It's going to get interesting.
Chicago probably a little underseeded. They were good, but Illinois. Illinois was beating the brakes off of good teams. By the end of the season. And a lot of people thought, you know what? Everyone's talking about Gonzaga. Illinois is going to go all the way. And so that's a monumental. And I just want to say something. That was the number 1 seed I thought wouldn't beat it. About what Molly, what you had to say. Like you had to ask yourself, is it because this time last year there was no tournament? Is it because we're coming off a year with fewer sports played than ever before and we're just starving for it? Or is it because it's really this good? And of course, the answer is both. Like, it is this good, but it feels even better than it is. It is every bit as good as you think it is, but it feels even better because we've been starving for this. So to get this now is it's a godsend.
I have not seen the opening weekend of March Madness, the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament, this haphazard. And that's what I love about it. And I'm not blaming COVID for that. You got some of these cats that can just ball. I mean, look at that kid from Ohio, Preston, can ball. Look at Oral Roberts and Obanar. He can ball. I'm just watching these brothers here. Buddy Boeheim, that's an NBA player. Just so y'all know, he's got the right size on him and he can hit shots.
6'6".
If you got the right size on you and you can hit perimeter shots, there is a place for you in the NBA. Jim Boeheim's son can play. I'm just telling you.
Under pressure.
I'm just telling you.
Can play under pressure.
He can play.
No question, guys. It was so much fun. It's just getting started. So far, we have 4 double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16 and counting. And I just want to say really quickly, I feel awful for VCU. I know they'll come back next year. They'll come back stronger. But that was such a tough break for them. And obviously having to concede with Oregon with the COVID testing and all that thing. And it wasn't the players' fault and all of that. So that was tough to hear that story. Tough break also for the Lakers, fellas. I mean, AD's